Alright, and here's the video review for Titan's Return, Voyager, Sentinel Prime. Let's see if we can get this a little brighter here. And he's going to be repainted into Astro Train. We've already seen it, so you're going to see some train and spaceship modes here. I don't think that's surprising anybody. He comes with his instructions, all the little bits and flips and things you do, as well as his bio card. And one of the things I pointed out too is that there's two different stat lines. The red lines are Sentinel Prime, and the blue lines are the power levels for the Headmaster. Now, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the power, like here, if the 12 is the Headmaster is actually a power of 12 by himself, or if that's the boost that attaching the Headmaster gives to the base body. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work, but either way, you do have both stat lines there, which is kind of cool. So you get those. A couple little updates to some things earlier. One, in my Skull Smasher review, Skystreak 1983 said he would love to see the Skull Smasher, Skull Cruncher mold get Galvatron's Headmaster and Mindwipe get Infinitus from Sentinel Prime here repainted into Beast Wars Prime and Megatron 2-pack, the Bat and Crocodile 2-pack. And if you look at Infinitus here, that head would really work. Let me see if we can get it up here and focus on that. I love his head. I love this head design because it's very Prime-like without being a carbon copy of Prime. But I think that would really work for Optimus Primal on the Bat body. And I did go ahead and put Nucleon on Skull Smasher's body. So like, I think that could work if it painted them all green like the old Beast Wars toy. I'd love to see a 2-pack of Primal and Megatron in that Beast Wars 2-pack scheme. So we'll see if they end up doing it. Could have been a good BotCon idea, but obviously they're not going to be around anymore. So maybe Hasbro can do it as a special exclusive. That would be neat. I think that would be a really cool idea. So thanks, Skystreak 1983. That was an awesome idea, although now I want it with a fiery passion. And who knows if I will ever get a chance to get it. I guess I could always customize one if I find these at retail and buy more copies. And Mindwipe has to come out first. But anyway, on to Sentinel Prime. Oh, well, the other thing I was going to mention is the loose head on my Scourge. Somebody said these are supposed to attach with the little head facing the same way as the robot face. And that's not actually the case, because if you look at the back of these things, I'm going to see if I can't get this thing to focus properly. There are, on the back side of the head, you can see those little divots there. And that's what grips inside the head. And you can see up in the front here, there's a slot for the head and then two extended pieces that are supposed to grip that notch, or those notches. And unfortunately, on my Scourge, and it may be vary on a case-by-case basis, it just holds it pretty loose, so he has a wobbly head. Now, in some cases, you can actually get the heads to fit by turning them around. They'll still fit, and they will hold better. My hard head actually holds a little better by turning the face to face forward like this. But with Scourge, it doesn't even click in at all. So I'd rather have a wobbly head than a completely non-attached head. But if you are having trouble with your Headmasters, try flipping that head around and seeing if that helps, because in some cases it might. So anyway, on to Sentinel Prime. Here he is in his train mode. Let me focus it again, because I was focusing up on things really close. So here he is in his train mode. And it's kind of it's a train because we say it's a train. He's got some little locomotive cabs here on the front and back. He's got some little rolling wheels here underneath that allow him to slide back and forth. He's got the little cockpit up here that Infinitus can sit in. He's got, the guns can peg in up here. And like a lot of his, like both of his alt modes, I feel could use more paint apps, or at least just a wash, because if you look at it, there's all this detail here on the wings and on the wheels, and these are painted, but there's all sorts of detail on this that just doesn't pop because it's not painted or picked out in any way, shape, or form, which is kind of a shame. There's some cool little turrets on the front and back. It looks like it's a long, skinny train, but there is some neat detail over it that just is missing, or just doesn't stick out. There's even little individual passenger doors here on the side of the train, so it would have been nice to have seen some just have that pop a little bit better. Maybe it'll pop a little more on Astro Train, especially since he's white and eventually he's going to get some dirt in those grooves and they're going to pop out like panel lining. But yeah, it would have been cool. But that's really all there is to Train Mode. He's just a kind of a long orange and red stick. So we'll go ahead and pull his guns off. Now you can leave Infinitus in the cockpit for this. I'm going to pop him out for reasons you will see shortly. But to go to Spaceship Mode, I'm going to untab the wings here. This whole assembly comes up. It's just attached over here on this side on this hinge and rotates. The two legs come down like this. You want to open up this hatch and rotate the train engine bit inside. And then snap these together here. Plug these into the bottom, plug these in up top. The arms come forward like this. And then this whole assembly comes down. You can see it kind of fits right in there in the slots of these red panels. These come down. You want to make sure you go under because there's a little gun on the inside of the wing here that needs to go under this red panel. And then there's a tab here that the arm tabs onto. And same on this side. And then these train panels here close. Fill in those gaps, and same on the bottom. Legs really like to pop apart on me. And there is his shuttle mode. And again, it's neat. I love the orange. You know how I feel about orange at this point. The base color scheme is kind of neat, but you know, like I said, there's the cockpit back here for the Titan Master, but you can see there's also supposed to be like a canopy. You can see like the windows, like a cockpit up here at the front of the shuttle. That all the details there, it just doesn't pop. It disappears in the solid plastic for a lot. A lot of the paint apps on him are these broad swaths of yellow with some gray. And he does have a little flip out landing gear here in the front. And then parts of his chest pop open here to give him some landing gear there in shuttle mode. And the reason I went ahead and took these guns off is because you can attach these to the side. You can attach them back here on the wings to be angled if you want. You've got some options there with the weapons. But like all the other things, he has a seat for the Titan Master. You can sit right in here. Put his arms forward. So you have to set him in there first, and then you can plug this gun in here, and you see that kind of holds him in place. But now he's manning the gun. Now you can attach it to a larger figure using this peg to have him hold as a weapon, or to like Optimus Prime or Blaster's base, or Fort Max's base mode to be a weapon emplacement. But it also has these pegs on the side, so you can peg him in on the side here. And like I was saying earlier, all of the figures have some sort of little gimmick that allow the Titan Master to become a weapons emplacement. So here's Blur's little dude, and you can, if you want to, you can have him plug in on the other side over here. So like I said, the way they've designed these things to just be so interchangeable and interactive with each other is really kind of neat. Also, these fins in shuttle mode should angle out like that. I forgot to do that, but yeah, so there's this shuttle mode. And to go to robot mode, it's actually fairly simple from this point. Untab the wings from the arms here. Lift these panels up. You should be able to, yeah, this should pull down around that backpack there. Nope, popped it off. Well, that happens. Just a friction pin. But fold those down onto the legs. Same on the front. Fold these panels down onto the front of the legs. And then rotate them so the yellow pieces are forward. The wings you can leave sticking straight out to the side if you want. But they're on these dual hinges here. I like to bring them back and fold them all the way in against. So it's like a 90-degree angle here on the back. It just collapses them in a little bit. And I think makes them look a little bit more dynamic in robot mode. Up to you, though. Now the feet, here is the actual configuration for the feet. This is the official configuration down here with the pointy cowboy boots, as somebody said. I'll flip this landing gear back up. And that's solid and secure. You can, if you want, you can open up these panels again and rotate the train engines forward. But if you do that, if you close these all the way, this little piece right here is going to keep him from pushing all the way up, which makes him not stable. You can see they start to curve up before his heel, and that makes him really unstable. You can leave these out a little bit, which allows that flat piece to go up into the behind this flap a little bit, and then at that point you can lean him forward a little bit, and he's a little bit more secure in robot mode. He will still fall backwards with the right bump, but you can get him, he leans forward a little bit, but you can position those. But they're not as secure. They will, any sort of pressure will cause those to fold up and cause them to start leaning forward or knock him backwards. But it is possible to do so, and I want to show off those feet. But that little flap here that actually keeps this from closing all the way is in fact the little extension here on the heel that keeps them holding, able to stand in this mode. So it's kind of ironic. But yeah, so we're going to use the official feet, but just know you can put them in a different way. And his hands are nice because he's actually got some really easy to grab onto dedicated tabs to pull his feet out or pull his fists out. And then that same tab is going to lock up into here to lock his fists in place in robot mode. Fold in these landing gear right here. And then we'll lift this up just a little bit so you can see them. And we'll take Infinitus, we'll fold him in half. He's got that prime looking head that we showed off earlier. And we'll plug it into the top. There we go. And there he is. Very orange, very bright. But I love his robot mode. Like I said, there's enough different color palettes. There is still some detail that goes missing, but there's enough different colors and some of the silver and yellow paint details to make him look a little bit more fleshed out, I guess, color-wise. He is still, like I said, he is still a very bright orange overall. You can hold his weapons again in combined mode with the Titan Master sitting in it, or separately. And posability-wise, he's actually pretty good. He's got a full 360 there on his head. Swivel up, swivel to the side. Hinge elbow. He doesn't have wrist swivels because the way they lock, and the way he transforms, he doesn't have a waist swivel, which is a little disappointing. But he's got ratchets back and forth. You don't hear the click on this way, but there are actual detents that lock the legs in at various positions this way. Thigh swivel, hinge knees, although the wings get in the way, although you can kind of move those out to the side and get a little bit more range of motion out of it. And a little bit of movement in the foot there just due to the way it transforms. But what's really cool, like I said, right now he's got a full 360 head rotation. But there's still one last little gimmick here, and that's if you take this lever on his chest and pull down on it, his little shoulder pylons pop up, which I love. I love the look of this guy. The basic design is cool. And because of those shoulder pylons, his head can only turn a little bit side to side. But to account for that, the pylon gimmick and the headmaster port, it's on its own separate piece inside of this rectangle here in the torso. So even though the head can only turn a few degrees that way, this whole assembly also turns within that piece, so he can still look side to side. Again, not as much as he could with the pylons retracted, and you can leave them retracted if you wish. But the fact that this whole assembly does turn side to side and give him more of a ability to look back and forth. Totally unnecessary. Like you could have just had this be solid and you can leave them up and down. But the fact that they actually accounted for that and gave that rotating piece in the torso, it's a really neat design gimmick there. But yeah, like I said, probably one of my favorites of the whole first wave, from deluxes all the way through Voyagers, or through leaders actually. Certainly I think he's a better figure than Galvatron, which it pains me to say, but Galvatron just has a few little flaws that I just can't get over. And we'll show that off in Galvatron's video. But there he is, Titan's Return Voyager Sentinel Prime with Infinitus.